Zoran Mamdani, the 33-year-old Democratic socialist who claimed a surprising victory in New York City's mayoral Democratic primaries, stopped short this weekend of fully condemning the phrase globalize the Intifada, which many say is a call for violence against Jewish people. Here's his exchange yesterday on NBC's Meet the Press with Kristen Welker.
I want to ask you about an issue that has divided some New Yorkers in recent weeks. You were recently asked about the term globalize the Intifada, if it makes you uncomfortable. In that moment, you did not condemn the phrase. Now, just so folks understand, it's a phrase that many people hear as a call to violence against Jews. There's been a lot of attention on this issue. So I want to give you an opportunity to respond here and now. Do you condemn that phrase, globalize the Intifada?
That's not language that I use. The language that I use and the language that I will continue to use to lead this city is that which speaks clearly to my intent, which is an intent grounded in a belief in universal human rights. And ultimately, that's what is the foundation of so much of my politics, the belief that freedom and justice and safety are things that, to have meaning, have to be applied to all people, and that includes Israelis and Palestinians alike.
But do you actually condemn it? I think that's the question and the outstanding issue that a number of people, both of the Jewish faith and beyond, have. Do you condemn that phase, globalize the Intifada, which a lot of people hear as a call to violence against Jews?
I've heard from many Jewish New Yorkers who have shared their concerns with me, especially in light of the horrific attacks that we saw in Washington, D.C. and in Boulder, Colorado, about this moment of anti-Semitism in our country and in our city. And I've heard those fears and I've had those conversations, and ultimately they are part and parcel of why in my campaign I've put forward a commitment to increase funding for anti-hate crime programming by 800%. I don't believe that the role of the mayor is to police speech in the manner especially of that of Donald Trump, who has put one New Yorker in jail who's just returned to his family, Mahmoud Khalil, for that very supposed crime of speech. Ultimately, what I think I need to show is the ability to not only talk about something, but to tackle it and to make clear that there's no room for anti-Semitism in this city. We have to root out that bigotry, and ultimately we do that through the actions, and that is the mayor I will be, one that protects Jewish New Yorkers and lives up to that commitment through the work that I do.
But quickly, for the people who care about the language and who feel really concerned by that phrase, why not just condemn it?
My concern is to start to walk down the line of language and making clear what language I believe is permissible or impermissible takes me into a place similar to that of the president, who is looking to do those very kinds of things, putting people in jail for writing an op-ed, putting them in jail for protesting. Ultimately, it's not language that I use. It's language I understand there are concerns about. And what I will do is showcase my vision for the city through my words and my actions.
So, Pablo, I'm glad that Kristen pushed him on this and asked the question repeatedly, because he kind of got a chance to explain what was behind his thinking rather than just the kind of headline that's been going around. And we spoke about this in the last hour, that what he is trying to do is kind of protect the notion of free speech at a time where he feels that Donald Trump is restricting free speech. But did he do enough, do you think, to satisfy the concerns of people who just say, OK, you can pass this however you want, but this is a phrase that we feel incites violence against Jewish people and therefore has to be prohibited or prescribed in some way, and you haven't done that?
I found him to be incredibly savvy, actually, in how he answered that, Caddy, both for the reasons you said, but also because of clearly who he's talking to. He's trying to build a coalition, to use that word, a cohesiveness on the left. And he knows that the people he's trying to persuade that, look, I'm not your typical candidate, is in fact a population of people that do not see the ideological, or in this case, the verbal, the rhetorical purity test in the same way. That I think people who understandably, by the way, just wanted to condemn it. Right? I understand that completely, but Molly, he is playing a bit of chess here. Yeah. And I think the larger move, the larger metaphor here is that he's seeing what Donald Trump has promised, right? Freedom of speech and populism. And he's saying, I'm going to actually use those weapons against the right. Yeah. That's the opportunity here, right? Collective self-interest rooted in the 99%. And that's why he's refusing to fall into these traps that he knows are going to end in one particular direction.
It's so interesting sitting here with you, too, because you're about 10 years younger than I am. You're in
Who's counting?
well, I always am. But you're in your 30s. And this candidate got this huge number of voters who do not come out in Democratic primaries, and they came out for him because he spoke to them, right?
That's right.
And what I've been really surprised by is how Democrats have had so much trouble messaging on economic populism, when in fact most of their proposals are actual economic populism. And we're watching this vote-a-rama right now, which will give, I mean, by the way, the numbers in this bill, 150 billion boost to military spending, okay? Cutting food stamps and Medicaid, closing rural hospitals. I mean, so like Republicans are not doing economic populism.
No.
Right?
No. Katy, it all seems pretty clear in terms of the intention, but you mentioned it before, the understandable pessimism is around how do you coordinate live in real time as we look at that bottom right picture in picture.
I think it's really important, and picking up these young voters is going to be the key if Democrats
literally
are going to
the
win.
future, I dare say.
Yeah, but we at the same time we have a Republican Party where Donald Trump is showing us every single day how much control he has over his party, and we have maybe it's because they're out of power, but we have a Democratic Party that is still having these debates very openly amongst themselves. Okay, coming up.